Welcome to CommunityForce.com. CommunityForce is a cloud-based scholarship and grant management platform that is completely web-based, requiring no additional hardware, software, or infrastructure. It easily integrates into third-party systems such as Banner, PeopleSoft, and DataTel to help philanthropic organizations, institutions, and nonprofits securely manage their business operations with reduced cost, paperwork, and improved efficiency. Get out from under bulky and inefficient management systems and get back to what you do best, giving.
CommunityForce is based on 3 dashboards. There's the applicant dashboard, which is the application. The second dashboard we'll take a look at is the administrative dashboard. And then the final dashboard we'll take a look at is the actual committee or reviewer dashboard. Now this is the first page that an applicant's going to be taken to when they click to apply online. When an applicant clicks on the link on your website to get to the application, they'll be taken to the landing page for that application, which again is the cover page information. Once they've reviewed that information, they'll click to continue with the application. They'll be taken to the login screen. You can customize everything, again, even down to the instructions on the login screen. If they've logged in before, they'll be taken directly to the application. This is an application that we've logged in before, and the reason why I point that out is we also have the option to use what are called pre-qualification questions. And what that essentially is going to do is it's going to provide that first gate to say, here's the basic qualifications. Do you meet them? Yes or no? If not, no need to fill out the application. If yes, here's the application to fill out. This is what a sample application would look like. A few things to note: they can come in after they've submitted their application and see what their application status is, whether it's under committee review, awarded, denied. They also have the ability to view matching scholarships, and this is where we're going to list the different scholarships that you have in there. These sections are by no means, again, written in stone. You can have as many sections as you'd like, as few sections as you like, and that's all going to depend on your application. Here's an example of what a section would actually look like. You see all the questions within that section. They can be text-based, they can be dates, they can be radio buttons, phone numbers, email addresses, drop-down menus, checkboxes, file uploads for uploading transcripts or any documentation you might require, essay boxes, pretty much any type of question you'd like. You can provide help information for each of the questions. You can mark certain questions as required. You can mark certain questions as blocked from the committee review application so that once you assign it to the committee, even though the applicant sees it and they have to fill in the information, the committee doesn't, so any private or sensitive information can be safeguarded in that way. And all the questions are also built on what's called conditional logic. Just as an example, for ethnicity, if you select other, we would set it so that a question pops up asking to describe what you mean by other for ethnicity. The reason why I point this out is that it really makes the application one in which it's dynamic to the point where it will customize itself for the applicant. So as I fill out information, if it triggers, hey, you went to this school and we need certain information about that specific school, provide me that additional information, those questions would pop up and it would customize itself for me. Whereas if I didn't attend that school, you don't want to ask me those questions because they don't pertain to me. You can mark certain sections as nominatable. Any section that's marked as nominatable can be assigned to a third party to complete using this nominate feature. You'd select the section, provide the nominee's name and email address, and click to nominate. So what this would do is you would mark that nomination, essentially as a required nomination, and the applicant would have to provide that reference to you on the online system. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to submit their application. One final thing that I want to show you about the application itself is I had mentioned to you that I cannot actually submit the application until everything reads 100% complete. That in a nutshell is the applicant dashboard. I'm going to log out and I'll log in for you as an administrator now. And this is the first thing that you would see on your administrative dashboard. This is going to be a list of all of your active applications. And pretty much you're going to have access to all of your applicant information for the entire time you're with CommunityForce. If you wanted to go back to an application from 10 years ago, you can go into Archive, select that application from 10 years ago, and you can still send out mass email communications or request additional reporting information from applicants. A few buttons up here that I want to point out to you as well. This is where you click to create a new application. Your administrative best friend is the clone existing application. And what clone existing application is going to do is it's going to copy over all of the structures of the application itself. So all the sections, all the questions, any reports, any committees you set up, any funds with eligibility criteria that you've set up, everything that you've set up in an application with the exception of the actual applicant data clones over. And what you would do is, let's say you're coming time for your 2013 application, you would select your 2012 one to clone. You'd simply change the name to 2013, put in the new start and end dates of the application, and you can go in and make any minor modifications to that application without affecting your previous applications. At this point, I'm going to click into an application. 5 main modules that you have for each application. You have the application designer. This is where we're going to go in and actually create the application, set up the funds and the different criteria, the different sections and questions, the instructions, the text pages for all those cover letters. This is pretty much where we're going to build that application for you. We also have a reports feature here. The 4 main reports that we have here currently are fund eligibility reports. You have field reports, and this essentially allows you to pull any field of information from the application or the decision-making process into a report, as well as to apply conditions. So let's say I want to pull contact information. I pull every field of contact information I want: name, phone number, email address, mailing address, city, state, zip, any field of information I want. So you can create any kind of custom report you would like using any field within the application. Those report structures as well clone over when you clone an application. So let's say you create a report that you need to provide to one of your superiors or a committee member or someone along those lines. When you clone the application for next year, that report structure clones over as well. So you don't have to create that again and again. It's always going to copy over. We also have what are called query reports. This allows you to actually write using query syntax, execute a query against the database itself, not simply pulling fields. The final report in here is an automated scoring report. You have a mass email tool, a pretty simple mass email tool. So under review applications, you have several different modules. The first is manage applicants. When you come in here, you can look up applicants based on what status they are, what stage their application is in. You have a notify button. I had pointed out to you earlier in the mass email tool that you have notify templates that are tied to specific pages within the system. You can, of course, generate PDFs of applications individually, in groups. You can delete applications out of the system here. You can sort them based on names, email address, login date, status, stage. And finally, you can actually go into the application itself. You can simply click on their name. You would see their actual application. You can go into the application and see what they answered, how they answered it, and be able to help them. You have your review for completeness module here. This is where, once applications are submitted, you'll be able to review them to make sure that they're complete and that they've answered all the information. This is pretty much where you're going to manage your intake. You can click to view an application. You'll have access to any attachments that they've provided. You can view the application below. You can change what stage they're in. You can provide comments. You can build a custom checklist for yourself. So if there's a few things that you know that you check through when you're reviewing them during the intake process, such as, did we receive the current transcript? Is the academic info complete? The next thing that we'll touch on is the actual scoring portion, one of which is automated scoring. That can be set up for anything, any field of information that you require. So what we would do during your implementation process, we'd take a look at that rubric that you use to actually make those decisions. Manage the committee review. This is where you're going to actually set up the different committees. In your case, there would be one committee. You would come in here, assign the committee members to that one committee. This is also where you're going to assign actual applications to the committees. This essentially is where you're going to go and say, okay, I'm going to take my top 50 or all 60 applications, and I'm going to assign them to the committee. But that's how you'll determine who the committee is actually going to be reviewing, so you have control of that as well. This is where you would assign reports that you've created to them. This is where you could assign documents for them to review. This is where you would manage the calendar, and this is where you would schedule those interviews for them. And that, in a nutshell, is how you would manage the review of the applications. The nice part about CommunityForce is that what we're going to do is we're going to set up the review process the way that you have it now. But you also have control of that. So as time goes on, if you want to make one change here or there to the way that your process is run to make it more efficient each year, you can go in each year and make one slight change to how you're doing it. It's going to grow and evolve as you change your process to utilize the tools that we're providing you. At this point, I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log in as a committee member to show you how their review process works. So this is the first thing that a committee member would see. It's a list of all the applications that they're actually reviewing on. Once they've clicked on the application, they have access to several different things. One's a committee recommendation. This is where they're actually going to go in and review an application. The others are the scholarship funds module, where they can review the actual fund information. So when you put in who the donor is, what the amount is, what the description is, they can see any reports that you've assigned to them, they can see any documents you've assigned to them, and they can see the committee calendar. One thing to note as well, all of these modules can be controlled by you, whether they are turned on or off. They'll see what % complete their individual review is. Once they've answered all of them, of course, they'll show 100%. And then finally, they can see the total points that they've given to an applicant, and they can, again, sort by that as well. Where they're going to actually do their review for an individual applicant is here under Review, Edit, Review. So once the committee member actually clicks on an applicant to provide their review, there's shown the applicant name. They can see all the funds that they qualify for. If in the future you provide separate eligibility criteria, they would see just the ones that this applicant qualifies for. They can provide committee comments. And then below, what they're going to see is the application on the right-hand side of the screen and the review rubric on the left-hand side of the screen. And finally, at the bottom, they would see any attachments. They can review this information, and they come to their rating, and it says, on a scale of 1 to 10, rate the transcripts. Scroll down, view the transcripts, determine what I want to rate them, give them a score. Then they move on to the next question. Scale of 1 to 10, write the financial information. They come to the application, scroll through the financial information, provide their rating. And they just work down this scoring rubric that you have right here. As simple as, what am I asked to review? Review, provide my score. And they can move on to the next applicant. And that pretty much is the committee review dashboard. I'm going to log out, and I'll log back as an administrator, and I'll show you how you process the automated scoring and the committee review to determine who's going to receive which scholarships. And that's in this final module, Manage Awards. When I click into Manage Awards, I see 3 different tools. One is to actually select the awardees by applicant. One is to award the actual scholarships once you've selected the awardees. And then the third is to manage the renewal information if you do end up doing renewable scholarships. But what you're going to do is click here on Select Awardees by Applicant, and you're going to see a list of all the applicants. You're going to see their names. You'd see what their total committee member points were, as well as what the average points are, and this is going to include the automated scoring portion as well. What this dashboard shows you is here's all my applicants, and I can sort them by totals or average. If you want to drill in and get more information, click on View, Edit, Review. You're going to see each committee member in their own row. You would see what they answered for each of the different review questions. You'd be able to see their comments, see the total points they gave, so you can actually compare the different committee members' rankings. You can also see the automated scoring component down here as well. So you'd see what points they got for which answer. You can also award them under this screen, and you can see again what their total and their average score was down here as well. Once you've actually determined who's awarded, you're going to come here to Award Scholarships. You'll see a list of all the applicants you marked as awarded. You can go into each applicant. You're going to see their name. You're going to see their final status as awarded. You can provide comments. You would see what funds they're eligible for, and what you're going to do is to actually click Award a Fund to award a specific fund. A few things you're going to see when you do this. You'll see a list of all the funds you have in the system. You have 7 funds. You'll see a list of all 7. You can select which one you want to award them. When you select that, you're going to see how much was originally allocated for this fund. You're going to see how much is available. And then you simply click here and actually type in what you want to give them. So I might have 10,000 originally allocated, 4,000 available, and I'm going to give them 1,000. If you want to give them multiple funds, let's say you want to award them 5 of your 7 scholarships, you can simply continue to click to award a fund and award them as many funds as you'd like to give them. If they are renewable, you can mark them as renewable, set with the start date and end date, and then you can create a custom checklist or series of questions for yourself here. Any information, you can create a custom question for yourself, and you can track that in here. All right, so what I will do at this point, I'll log off, and thank you for your time.